Hello. If you're new here, thank you for joining. If you're not new here, welcome back. I appreciate you. So I want to talk about something that I feel like I could call myself an expert on, very humbly at least. I want to talk about self-motivation because I feel like I've always been the type of person to just get out of bed and just do it. Like 4 a.m, and so that's a thing. And I did not come outside to exercise like I feel like I will once it starts getting warmer. Like I'll be very transparent. Like once it started getting colder, at first I had no issue with getting out at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and going for a jog. But I think because I changed my environment, it became a little bit harder. I don't know, the weather here has been wild. I feel like the weather in general has been wild. And so it was cold and I was going outside. I was going for jogs at 5 a.m. But then I changed my environment. There was a whole lot of stresses, compounding around me. And I was just I don't know. And I'm not going to lie, that did kind of demotivate me a little bit from exercising. I still go for walks. I haven't stopped taking walks, but running and jogging has been something else entirely. Also, I don't really have the shoes for that right now. I only have one pair of shoes and they're not really running shoes. So, but for sure, I will say once it gets warmer, I will be running again. There's no doubt about that. And for me personally, when it comes to motivating myself, a really big thing about it is just forcing yourself. I'm the type of person, when I'm up, when I'm awake, I have no problem getting out of bed. I don't like laying in bed. I don't like having to sleep. I don't lately I feel like I've been sleeping a lot more just because the period I am in my life, or the period I'm in my life, if I can say that correctly, semantics. But I do remember at some point, there was a point where it was a little bit hard to get out of bed. And one thing that I would do in these moments is really just force myself. I would play music, and that really helped. Specific kinds of music. I would play specifically very hype music, you know what I mean? Things that make you want to move and groove. And maybe it sounds a little bit too easy cheesy, but really when it boils down, it's just a matter of what you're willing to put in, and if you're willing to force yourself out of bed, if you're willing to force yourself to at least start, then you're on the right track. Because I'm not running right now, but when I was running, once again, it was freezing out. It's snowing now. But it'd be freezing at 5 a.m, even if it's not snowing, And so, it would be excruciating. If I didn't dress properly, because I wasn't dressing properly, I'm not going to lie. Because I get warm, I get hot. And so if I'm running, I start to get hot. And it's what the frick I need to be wearing all these layers for? I'm about to be burning up, For the sake of being polite, I don't really love calling people lazy. But one thing I've discovered is that a lot of people really are very lazy. A lot of people say that they want X, Y, and Z. They want the summer body. They want the finances. They want X, Y, and Z. They want the perfect relationship. But then they're not willing to put in the work for those things. And it's that's not how that works, bro. You're not gonna get all that shit if you don't actually put in the work for it, For example, recently I actually published an ebook. I actually published 2 ebooks. And I'm working on some more. But the thing about it is that I've been wanting to publish a book for so long. And technically I've already published books. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm not super boastful about it because it didn't necessarily go through all the correct channels. I didn't have like a professional editor. I didn't necessarily professionally edit it. Like looking back on it, I remember like one specific typo within the first book. It was like 2 books. Did I say that? I think I said that. It was like a first part and then a second part, and it was supposed to be like 4 more books, but it just never really panned out in that way. Whatever. But the thing about it is that like I had to be very dedicated. I had to be very motivated to finish it, you know? And I don't know. I did it in high school. And once again, I don't boast about it. I don't talk about it too often because it's not like, I don't know. It's something to be proud of, but once again, I feel like I could have done better. And that's just me. That's just the Virgo in me. Like, I have a little bit of a perfectionist in me. And thankfully, I don't allow it to run the show, because some people, that's where their lack of motivation comes from. That's where their lack of dedication comes from, because they're like, I want it to be perfect. I need it to look perfect. And it's like, sometimes it's not going to be perfect. Like, like when I think about some of the first music that I started making. Okay, because let me tell you something. Like, I feel like within the last couple of years, at least, I've definitely gotten very serious about my art, my artwork, my music, my creativity. But I've always been dabbling in that shit. I've always been like a person to create. Like, and when I remember some of the first music I made, like back in high school, oh my God, it's so funny. Like, I think it's good from the perspective of like, I was just trying to figure out how to create. I was just trying to do it, you know? But oh my God, it's so cringe looking back at. And then fast forward to the last few years when I started actually like taking it more seriously. And once again, I say all my life I've been kind of in creative mode. I've always been like the type to sit down and like put pen to the paper, you know? But the last few years when I actually started getting in the studio and doing stuff, like, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's definitely like, it's obvious that I was just trying to dip my toe into it. And then eventually I got better, and now I have music where I'm like, every time I listen back to it, I'm like, fuck, I made that? That's me? That's fucking crazy. You know, like, I literally had a listening session yesterday where I was just like going through all of my music, and every time I was just like, oh my God, this is me? This is me? My inner child would be so proud, you know? And that's another thing about it, like self-motivation. Like, you have to validate yourself. You can't like sit around and wait for somebody else to be like, oh, you're so good, you're so talented. Like, no, bitch. Validate yourself. Like, listen to your own music and get to a place where you can like say for yourself that it's good. You know, watch your own shit and be like, oh wow, that's good. You know, it's when you get to that place where you've really like done it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people make the mistake of like waiting for the validation of others, waiting for other people to approve them, and it's like, no, bro. You gotta validate yourself. You gotta get to a place of liking your own shit. There's one lyric from an Ariana line where she says, what'd she say? Keep my stuff in... Fuck, I'm misremembering the lyrics, but she's like, I keep my shit muted for the hell of it, because I like my shit. You know, and there's that sort of energy. It's like, sure, she's like one of the leading artists in the world, but I feel like part of that is because she genuinely loves what she does, and she puts that into her work. Like, it's very obvious that she enjoys doing what she does, you know, and that's part of it. You have to genuinely enjoy it. Like, and for me, I genuinely fucking enjoy getting up and jogging / running. I mean, I prefer running, but once again, I don't have the shoes for that now, and it's fucking freezing. And so all of these factors together are just like, let's wait. You know, like, because I don't mind I've run before in these shoes. I've jogged before in these shoes. but these are not running shoes, and it is freezing, and I feel like I haven't been dressing appropriately generally, so, once again, I'm gonna wait till it gets warmer. I feel like another thing about self-motivation is, like, being inspired by everything, like, being open to, like, having everything inspire you. Like, the down moments, the low moments, the annoying moments, like, there should always be some sort of spark available, Like, if you really want to be a self-motivated person, like, you really have to, like, be able to look at anything and be like, oh, wow, that's a cool idea, and run with it. And when I say run with it, I mean, like, just go for it. Like, not every idea that I have turns out to be a song, I guess, but, like, I do try to record most of the thoughts that I have so that I can come back to it and be like, oh, yeah, that's a cool song. I actually recently finished recording a song that I had been working on that I'm really proud of. And I don't know, it's funny because when I'm in creation mode, I'm like so perfectionist. I'm like, oh my God, this could be like that and this could be like that. I could add a vocal here and it'd be really cool. And then once I'm done, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm done. And then I'll, like, not done in the sense that I just stop and, like, messing with it, but done in the sense that I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy, and then I just get into, like, listen mode. I'm just, like, listening on repeat, just like, this is so beautiful. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've listened to my own tracks, like, specifically this one that I just finished. Like, I probably listened to it over, like, 50 times. I don't even know, because, like, I just like my shit. I love my shit, and one day other people will love it, but until then, I'm loving it. Oh my God, I'm loving it. McDonald's, hello. I feel like part of why I'm even making this video is because there's been something in my life that I feel like I've been having a hard time starting, and I had to realize, like, just how good I am at starting things. Like, for a little bit of context, because I'm not going to explain exactly what it is, this one thing that I'm talking about, I did start it. Like, when I first had the idea, I tried to implement it, like, several times. Like, there have been several times where I started, so it's not like I've never tried it before. It's not like I'm completely blocked off from it. But it is definitely something where I think about it and I'm like, fuck, why aren't I doing that? You know what I mean? But here I am making this video instead. I don't know, sometimes the reason why we don't start something, the reason why we don't do something is because we feel like we don't have all the resources, we feel super anxious about it, we feel a lot of feelings about it. And I think for me, it's really the feelings part. It's like having to deal with a lot of consequences of the thing. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. Like that, I feel like that sentiment has been very subconsciously in my head lately, because it's like, I'm not afraid to fucking fail. Partially because I know failure isn't really an option at this point. What I'm really afraid of is, like, doing all the things and being majorly successful and then, like, having people leech off of me. Like, that's what I'm really afraid of, to be honest. To be quite frank, And I don't know, what's the cure for that? What's the cure for, like, being afraid of your own success? Because that's really what it is. And it's like, that doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily, like, consciously sabotage, but that doesn't mean I won't subconsciously sabotage. And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't really take into account when they're trying to, like, achieve their goals and shit. Like, the subconscious mind is a very tricky element. Like, it is very powerful, but its entire job is to keep you safe, and sometimes keeping you safe, oh my God, what's that Miley Cyrus lyric? I think it's Pablo the Blowfish, and she's like, and keeping you small meant keeping you safe, You know, oh my goodness, that song, so emotional, so good. But yeah, that's the subconscious mind. Like, it will do so much to keep you safe and keep you small, and you have to actively work against it. You know, like, you have to remind yourself, hey, I'm safe in this moment. Like, this isn't a life or death situation. I'm just on camera. I'm just in the spotlight. You know, I'm not going to die from this moment. You know what I mean? Is one thing about it. I've been making content since like high school, right? But it wasn't until like the last like 3 years, I think, where I started getting on TikTok. And when I tell you, I was like so afraid to start posting on TikTok. Oh my fucking goodness. And then I was even more afraid to start going live streaming. And eventually I forced myself. Like, I kind of just did it. Like, I went on, and it felt so strange. It felt so off. But I did it, and I pushed through it, and it was actually really fun. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And that's one of those moments where I look back and I'm like, that's what happens when you push yourself through the fear. Like, you know, because a lot of times we over-catastrophize, we overthink, and we're like, you know, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what if this goes wrong, or what if they laugh at me? And it's like, okay, and because I think a lot of the things that I thought about, that I was like worried about before going live and stuff, has happened. I think, because like the biggest thing was that I was afraid of looking stupid. I was afraid of feeling stupid. But that's happened so many fucking times, and it's amazing. It's such a fun ride, you know? But that's also another thing about it. Like, it's a mentality thing. Like, you have to genuinely find enjoyment in it. I think I said that already, but you have to genuinely find enjoyment in what you're doing. Like, you know, whether it's exercising, whether it's eating healthy, like, you have to find the enjoyment within it. And for me, I've been eating a little bit healthy. And I say a little bit because I've kind of steered off the path a little bit, but I've been trying, you know, especially when I have the funds, you know, because it does cost a little bit to eat a little bit healthy. Like, for me, I have found a lot of enjoyment in, like, cooking my own meals, and, like, you know, that's been really fun for me. Like, I really enjoy that, and I think it's part of the process, you know? Like, I don't mind getting a bag of, like, frozen carrots and broccoli and stuff. Like, I love that shit, you know? Oh, and also some mushrooms. Last night I made some mushrooms and mac and cheese. Mac and cheese isn't really the best health-wise, but I got it, and it was very nice. It was very yummy. You know. Also, I love me some cauliflower. Like, give me some cauliflower, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? Anyways, I hope this was useful. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, you should definitely engage with the video. You should definitely tell me what you thought about it. And if you aren't subscribed yet, you should definitely consider subscribing for me. I would appreciate that. So then you can get notifications the next time I post, which I actually have a sort of schedule now. I think, I don't know. I don't want to speak it. I'm speaking it into existence now, but I don't want to, because I can be very fickle and I can change my mind at the drop of a hat. So who knows how I feel next week. But at the time, I really want to stick to Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Currently, it's Friday as I'm recording. It's Friday morning. So you might be seeing this on Sunday. Ideally, I would have recorded other videos by then. So who knows when you'll see this. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Check out the description below. Bye.